today we are going to do. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel The Taskmaster, and today we are going to do something else. Yes, last time we did the print statement, and this time we are going to do something called data. So when you search in Google, the definition of data is the quantities, characters, or symbols on which operations are performed by a computer, which means that data is like everything, all the numbers, all the letters, everything that you type, all the input or output of a device is data. Every symbol you used, every letter you have typed, everything is data. So we'll start by opening another file. We'll write, first we'll copy the main thing, transfer 4 slash and name of our new session. I'm going to name this, and also do not forget to put .py, otherwise the file will not open as you might want to. So now data is basically it's everything. So it is of four types. There are many types of data, but there are basically only four. We will go into the details later, but for now we will only study the four basic data types. So I will put quotes and okay. I keep doing this mistake. There are four, and it is, it's a good thing, good habit to keep comments in your program, because sometimes it's good to keep notes. Whenever you learn something, it's good to keep notes, because sometimes you open a program after a very long time, you have forgotten what you were doing, but if you have comments written after every line, you know what you are doing and you can properly recollect everything. So now the four basic types are: first is int. It's it's any whole number. It can be one, it can be any number. This any whole number is comes in the integer data type, and its symbol in the Python programming language is int. So whenever you write int, it means you're referring to the integer data type. So the next data type is float. Float is the decimal numbers. Any decimal number means, for example, 4.6, or the value of pi 3.1416, if I'm right, and as far as it goes. So any decimal number comes as a float in the float data type. This float is a word, it doesn't have any short form. So the float data type has a symbol as the word float. And you have to make sure that the first letter stays small. As I have said this previously too, this is a case sensitive program. That means the capital letter will be different than the small case letter. The next data type is string. String is anything in quotes. So means anything in quotes, be it a number, a symbol, a decimal, anything that will come in between quotes automatically becomes a string. That is what a string is. So if you write, for example, your name. So for example, I'll write my channel's name. So this, when I've put it inside these quotes, it automatically becomes a string value. The data type of this becomes string. Like float, even string does not have any new data type. And even a number, for example, I've put 1437. This would have otherwise been a value of an int data type, integer data type, but as soon as I put it within quotes, it has become a string value, and it will be taken like this in the rest of the program if it is used. And also, if you put any decimal number, even this, like the number, like the name, it will be a string whenever you put it in quotes. That is what makes a string different from every other value, data type. And also a symbol, like for example, if I put the percentage sign outside these quotes, this will mean completely different. The percentage symbol as acts as an operator outside the quotes, but within the quotes it becomes a string and it is just going to be used as it is, just the symbol. It's not going to do anything else. And the last of the four data types that we are doing is Boolean. In programming, the symbol of Boolean is bool, just BOOL, and Boolean is just two values, true and false. Just two values, true and false. So these are the only two possible values of a boolean. So for example, it will say that if a statement is true or false, it is just two things. That is what boolean. It is, I feel, the simplest of all because it just has two values, true and false. So now we will do some print statements where we will see how the data types of different values. So we write print, and we write in the bracket we first type the word type, and then after that we put another curly bracket, round bracket, and we add any value. You can add anything. You can add a number. Here first I'll add a number. So what this type does, this word type, it's another keyword. So what this type does is whatever is in the parenthesis after this, it returns the data value of this. I'll show you. We'll just run this program and you will see that since we've put a number, its output is the class int. So means the data type of whatever we have put in here is an integer. Our data that is inside these brackets is an integer. We'll try this with another value. Let print type, and now let's add a decimal number. So I've added a decimal number, and you have to make sure that you are closing both the parentheses, because if there's anything open it will come as an error. So when I run this, now since I added a decimal number, it has returned the value as float because the decimal number. Now let's try with string. So whenever you don't, so basically this can be used in programs when you want to know the data, you want to output the data type of any value entered. So now I'll just, let's just put a number inside quotes just to prove the practicality of the theory that anything inside quotes becomes a string. So I run this, and you'll see even though I put it inside quotes, it has shown as string. It's str. So that is what happens when you put anything in quotes. This would have otherwise been an integer, but since we put it in quotes, it became a string. And now the last data type, that is our boolean data type. So here I have to be very careful. The T of true and the F of false have to be capital always. So I write true. See, when I complete the word true, the color changes. It becomes a light blue color. So it shows that we have typed it right. If I would have maybe small t, this does not stay blue, it becomes black. So it's important to keep it capital because Python is case sensitive. And when you do this, and when you run your program, you will see that it has, since we typed true, it has said that the data type is boolean, it is bool. So now you can now see that you can check the data type of any value you enter. Now we'll see how can you convert data types. So now what we will do is that we will print a number. For example, you first have to type your choice of data type. So for example, I want to convert the value I want into a decimal, so I will add float here, and then inside another parenthesis I will add a number. Now be careful, it is float can only be converted into an integer, and an integer can only be converted into a float. So you need to be careful. So we will do this. We have closed both the parentheses, and when we run it, you will see it has added a point 0 to make it a decimal number. So that is what it does when you type float and you keep an integer inside the round brackets. Now the same thing we will convert a decimal number into an integer. So we will write int, and in the bracket we will put a decimal number, and when we run this, you'll see that it has removed the decimal point. It has not rounded off, it has not done anything, it has just removed that whatever was the of the decimal, and it has been converted into an integer. From 34.6 it has been converted into just 34. And now I said that a integer can only be converted into a float and vice versa, but there are some exceptions to this. An int or float value can also be converted into a string, because basically for a string you just need to add quotes. So if I just put some number here, run it, this has now become a, a string. Now if I try to check the type of this, you will see that it will return. You notice that first it converted this value to string, and then it checked which type is the value inside these brackets. So it has returned the value as a string value. So this way we have proved that what when you do the str and you add any number or any decimal in the brackets. Now if I make this point 8 and I run this, it will still stay a string value because I have converted it into string value. So this is that, and now the last one, a boolean. Now string can, any value can be converted into string. So if it is an integer, a decimal number, or a boolean, it can be converted into string. Like for example, Now let's do right false in it, because to convert into string it's very simple. You just have to add the codes, so it can be easily done by the computer. But if you have to do the other way around, if for example I put a string in here, just something random, it will return true. It will only return true, and the type of this is boolean. It actually means true, correct. So this will remain, the value of this will become true. So whatever you add inside a bracket when you're converting to boolean, it basically changes to a true value always. So I put 484 is still true. So whenever you convert any of the data type to boolean, it is true. This doesn't have any practical use, but it is just for theory that it is to be done. So now after this, so now you've seen the various types of data conversion. So this is how you convert data. This is how you check the type of data, and also you convert it into other data types. So this was the end of my session, and now I will like to give you some homework, so which you can try at home. And if you have any issues, you can send it to me on my email ID, taskmaster at the rate taskmaster2404 at the rate gmail.com. I'm going to put the email ID in my description, so you can put your doubts there, and I will clear them for you in my next video in a doubt clearing session after the main video explanation is complete. So this is one question that I have for you today. I'm only putting one because this is a little big one and this concept is relatively easy one. So here I am asking that print the following with correct data type in the same line. The field in separate lines but the correct data type on the same line. So means, for example, here's a random name Rohan, and then whatever is the data type of the entry, it has to be given on the same line like this. So these are the various fields, and according in order for every field you have to give the value. For example, for name you will write your name, address, phone number, email, height, age, weight, grade, school name. So these are all the fields for which you have to give some answer, and you have to put the correct data type on the same line. So this is the homework I'm giving. I hope you have understood everything in this video. If not, please, I insist, don't hesitate. Put your doubts on my email ID taskmaster2404 at the rate gmail.com. I will solve those either in a reply to that query, or I will answer it in my doubt session after my video in the next weekend. I'm going to be putting new programming videos every weekend, so please don't forget to see them. And also like and subscribe to my channel so that you can see the other videos of my gaming, programming, cooking, crafting, and music sections. Please do like and subscribe. This is the Taskmaster signing off. Goodbye.